more and more, any question I get asked, I've really just learned it comes down just to doing the things that perhaps you don't want to do. Example, waking up on time, getting to bed on time, just going to the gym, whether you want to go to the gym or not, eating a healthy breakfast, whether you want to do it or not. Like if you can just train yourself to remove that flinch and just get stuff done and just execute on what's holding you back. If you're procrastinating heavy on something that you know needs to get done, that's going to fix the solution for you, or if there's something outstanding, when you just start executing and you just start knocking stuff off, like you feel invincible. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
Welcome to Motivation Monday. Let's get you fired up, inspired, and educated in another incredible episode. And if you're new around here, what we like to do with Motivation Monday is answer some of the questions you guys submitted, our amazing community, dive into what's relevant today, share what's on our mind, as well as an incredible transformation of someone who's crushing it. And we like to kick this off. And some quotes, actually. I almost left out the quotes. The quotes are a big part of this. We find their little snippets of knowledge, motivation, inspiration. It's absolutely great to share them. So you're in for a real treat with today's episode. And we're going to start with a really fun first question, which is, what, if anything, do you find hard about podcasting? I don't get how it seems to come so easy to you guys. Would love to hear more about this. And this question to me was really fun. And it just really got my mind going. And I think it'll be a cool look for you behind the curtain, which will be great. And we've had some issues actually, like in the past, nothing radical, but there's been like little challenges for us with podcasting. So I think initially the biggest challenge was getting started. Like maybe, I assume most people don't have a podcast. Like if you figure getting one, in theory, it's simple, right? Have a camera, have a mic, upload that, get tons of people listening, boom, bada, bing. But the logistics of it were confusing. We're like, where do you record a podcast? Like, how does that work? How do you just strip audio? How do you edit just audio? And we thankfully had a background of YouTube. We obviously have a successful YouTube channel, which we're very fortunate for. So with that, we kind of didn't know what to do perfectly. And we actually started it a little more bootleg, where we'd use a microphone in Kyle's car. He had a Dodge Challenger. We'd sit in his car and it was pleasant on a nice day. It was horrible on a hot day. And it was miserable on a cold Canadian day, which wasn't fun. But we would just film with the camera, with the boom mic, and we just got it done, got it up, stripped the audio. The audio wasn't bad, but it clearly isn't as nice and optimized as you can see now. You can see we have video on every platform you listen to this to, which is absolutely amazing. We have nice mics, we have stands for our cameras, we're using GarageBand software. So we figured it out. And I think like most things, it can seem like a insurmountable mountain at first, but once you just start to take action, it's awesome to see it come together.
Yeah, honestly, it's just, I remember those starting days and they were kind of tough. Like even we just never had the space, right? So that's where I think most people stop. And even when people who are some of our friends or people reach out to us who start a YouTube channel, and you just realize like there's actually so many problems like in order to make this all happen, right? Even for like YouTube, I know it's a bit of a different thing, but the amount of times we've been told we couldn't film, the amount of times where even we'd go into a grocery store and they'd be like, oh, you can't do this. And this was like many, many years ago before filming was even, I guess now it's almost kind of accepted. Even in gyms now, they're like, hey, bring your tripods and all this stuff. So I'd say like that was probably one of the biggest challenge. And even for us, like we just will always find a way. And that's like what we do for our clients, for our business, for our everything we do is just like, hey, okay, there's this roadblock. How do we get around that? So I would say that was like a big one. And then like, one of the ones that was really hard for me, the biggest challenge was, I guess, feeling like I was talking to people and actually kind of feeling like I'm helping people, right? So there was a time when Josh really helped me out with this because I felt like it wasn't impacting as many people. And as you guys know, podcasting can sometimes just feel like we're just chatting. You don't get as much feedback like you would an Instagram post or a YouTube video and stuff like that. So I was like, oh man, like what's the point? And especially because our views were pretty low in the very beginning, but we obviously stuck to it. Josh was like, hey, just let's keep going. It'll 100% be worth it. And of course it is now 750 episodes, but I'd say my biggest challenge was that. And even now, like anytime we go on Instagram and someone says, hey, I found you from the podcast, I've lost 50 pounds now, or clients will sign up from the podcast and I'm like, okay, it's always worth it. So my big challenge was in the early stages, 100, 200 episodes, or even 50 episodes in being like, we're not reaching as many people as an Instagram post or a YouTube video. And that was something that was really hard for me. Whereas now I'm like, you know what? Like, all it takes is that one person who listens. You listen today, you implement one of our metabolism tips, which we're going to talk about, or you sign up for coaching, or you like our quote, and it helps you out. Like, I'm happy. Like, we've done our job, and I'm happy to be doing this. So yeah, that was one of my biggest personal struggles.
Yeah, I think it's when you start something new, it's easy to feel like you're throwing a stone into an ocean and it's having no effect. And one nice thing to tie this together is we just finished our challenge. And for anyone who fully completed our challenge in our program, they're getting a shirt with our logo on the front, and on the back it says "No challenge too great." And I think similar to podcasting, there was just so many roadblocks and challenges. But when you have that attitude of like, I'm going to get through it, you can see where you're going to come at the end. I think it's a great parallel to like fitness, right? When you first start working out, it just seems impossible. You're weak. Everyone's stronger. It's awkward. But it's cool when you see that come together. And at the same time too, like having that belief in the process and understanding what you're working towards can help you push through it. And I think it was hard psychologically for us because we were like, our YouTube was popping. Like we were at the time, like, you know, Z-list celebrities, people would come and say what I'm be like, are you Josh from Class Fitness? Like I remember I was in a random Target in like Buffalo and people would come up, and it was really cool in that sense. And then we made this podcast, and we're getting like maybe 50 listens an episode, which was so like nothing, because we were probably averaging 500,000 views a month on YouTube, which was really cool, if not more. And then to get 50 was kind of ridiculous. And Kyle wasn't sure on it, which is understandable, right? Especially when it's not popping, or perhaps we felt we weren't doing it to the best of our ability, but we stuck to it. And now we get tens of millions. We've had tens of millions of listens, which is awesome. We continue to do that. And I think just going through that and having that self-belief is so huge. And if you do that in your own journey and your own goals, like it's always good to try. And I think there's nothing wrong with trying, because you can't know unless you try. Like if we tried, it stunk, no one cared for it, it went nowhere, what's the harm, right? And I think especially too, if you feel conviction to do something that you feel should be done, it's worth trying it and getting it done, which is absolutely great, because you can just think like, I want to do this thing, but I'm scared to start, or I'm worried I'll fail. And that can be quite discouraging. But naturally, when you do it, it's always nice and it's rewarding. So I'm really glad we got that done and did that through. But saying so, there were struggles all along the way. I think naturally we both do well in video and audio, which is really, really nice. So I'm really thankful that it comes naturally to me. And I think we all have our benefits. Some people write well, some people speak well. But with YouTube, it was a very different format. It was like quick, short bursts, which was absolutely nice. So I'm happy for that. And when we started, there are things we had to work on. To this day, I try to talk slow, try to talk clear. I try to communicate, obviously, with enthusiasm and energy. But we've had feedback, and you can take feedback and get mad at it. Like someone said, you guys talk so fast, I feel like you're sped up. And I could have said, oh, this person stinks. They're not appreciating our free podcast, this and that. But instead, like we've really chosen to take every piece of advice we can. There was a time we were saying guys a lot. We were saying, you know, a lot. We really worked on that. So it isn't to say we've been absolute perfect the whole way through, but I think it's been a great challenge to become better and better, communicate more clearly and concisely. We try not to piggyback on each other's comments when we find them repetitive. So like anything else, like we put in the reps here like we do in the gym, and we want to put out the best show for you so it can be as entertaining, as educational as physically possible.
Yeah, even me, I just remember in the beginning stages kind of feeling more awkward just sitting here for 40 minutes. Like Josh has always been quite a bit better than me in my personal opinion. I was like, you know what, let's just show up. Like we're talking to someone. Hey, someone is behind the camera right now, or I guess you could say just in their car listening. Like that's the best way to describe it. And that really helped me as well. But I'd say the one consistent struggle that you guys will not see as much, and it doesn't come up often, but it's just the consistency. And what I mean by that is like if there is a time where maybe there's a trip planned, or, you know, Josh has 2 young ones and we have gone through different phases of like getting ahead of schedule. And even for me, like, you know, hey, let's film a day early and just let's not miss. And so 2 of the biggest principles we've had for this, and it's really helped, is just like, it's a non-negotiable. So every single week, no matter what, 2 episodes, no matter what trip, no matter what sickness, no matter what we have to do, we will get it up. And even like when it comes down to it for your fitness journey, if you were to apply that simple principle of a non-negotiable, you will absolutely be successful in whatever you do. And the second thing is a deeper why. Like I said, knowing that we are impacting, we are helping, it makes it so much easier to hop on this camera and have this microphone here, knowing that we are changing people. And for you on your fitness journey, if you have a deeper why as to like why you want to show up, it's for yourself, it's for your family. Like these two principles are what helped us get to over 700 episodes. And I feel like you can apply it in whatever you're doing, your fitness journey, relationships, your business. And that's what's a consistent struggle, but that's how we've been navigating it so far.
So true. And that was a really fun question. We love letting you guys behind the curtain where we can. And now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes. What's your first quote, Kyle?
So my quote for today is, if you have someone that believes in you, it'll completely change everything for you. So this is something I heard from a podcast the other day. I listened to some different podcasts just to help me become a better fitness coach and obviously just business owner. So this was just kind of like a real talks behind the scenes of a fitness coach speaking with their mentor. And this fitness coach had said that. And I was like, man, that is just so powerful, because a lot of people struggle on their journey because there isn't someone that really deeply believes in them. So I honestly believe that obviously having the belief from yourself is one of the most important things. Like you always have to start with that. But even to be able to believe in yourself, sometimes it takes that person behind the scenes to actually say, hey, you're doing great. Hey, I believe in you. And I really encourage you, like on that note, to try to find that person. Even I've been having some discussions with some of my clients, especially as we have done a successful challenge. We're starting to plan the rest of the year. We're going to have a New Year's challenge taking place. And I was having some convos with them as of late, especially because once again, sometimes challenges, people will just rebound and they won't really go down the right path. So I'm like, you know what? I said this to my client Shonda yesterday. I'm like, I genuinely believe in you. And she had some different self-limiting beliefs, right? Like some people, it's hard for them, right? And you could just see like the light on her face, like every part of her. She's like really? Like that, it just made her day to hear. And I'm like, I'm not just saying this to say this. So whatever it is, if you can just have those people that, and it's not easy, right, to find people to be like, oh, you got to believe in me. And that's where like I truly believe our coaching program is the greatest thing in the world, because we see people from like a different perspective where they consistently see themselves, where they've failed a bunch of different times, where they're struggling, and we can be like, you know what, like this person, they have so much potential. And I try to look that way for everyone, whether it's friends, family, especially my clients, of course. And that's going to be my big quote. If you have someone that believes in you, it'll completely change everything for you.
Yeah, that note of believing in yourself is so important, because if you don't even believe in yourself, and I think that's where a lot of people do really fall short, is when they want to start a diet, they're like, I'm going to diet, I'm going to lose weight. But in the back of their head, they're like, oh, Sunday's football. Like I'm just going to go ahead and eat my 50 wings and my 12 beers like I do every Sunday. Like if you're already giving yourself that out, or you don't even believe in yourself, it's so hard to commit and see something through. So even if you got to psych yourself out or find a reasonable amount of belief to buy into, like that is the biggest first step. Because if you don't even believe in yourself, you're done, right? Like you really truly need to be like, I can do this, I will do this, I might mess up, I might fail. That's natural, that's okay, but you need to see it through and you need to get it done. And then I think having someone on your side is the best. And that's why we like to say, like, being on a journey by yourself, you're down here. If you have a coach, it's like a whole nother world. And then if you have community, like you're out of this atmosphere, right? Because you're having so much support. You're seeing like-minded individuals who say, hey, I struggled, or I was in this tough situation, but here's how I navigated and won. I struggled with my weight all my life. Since joining this coaching program, I've had success like never before. Like when you see that, you buy in more and you understand it. Whereas if all of your sources of input, all your friends say, it's not worth it, you don't have the genetics, everyone in this family is overweight, it's not possible, your metabolism's not going to work, like you'll start to believe those things even if they're not true. And I think when someone can be there for you when you're weak, and that will invest that time and energy into you, it goes so far. And I'm sure we've all had teachers, coaches, mentors who have believed in us and walked us through tough situations. Like I can even think back, I remember it was like grade 4 perhaps. I remember I was struggling more school or whatever, and one teacher made me stay back and help me with extra work. And I remember after that, like how much easier school was for me, because when you get like a little behind, it's hard to get ahead. And I'm very thankful for that to this day. I remember certain like coaches, when they'd say something nice and they'd see a lot of potential in you, or they'd speak to your strengths, like it's amazing how much weight that carries. So I think even finding ways to get that yourself, whether it's support a friend, working out with other gym people, or most importantly, having a coach. Because for me, I know all my clients can succeed, and I like being able to help them when they're strong as well as when they're weak. And I think that's a great segue into my quote, which is, it's a simple, basic, old school one. I really have felt called to share this quote, and that is, just do it, Nike. Not because of Nike, but because of the concept of just doing it. Because more and more, any question I get asked, I've really just learned it comes down just to doing the things that perhaps you don't want to do. Example, waking up on time, getting to bed on time, just going to the gym, whether you want to go to the gym or not, eating a healthy breakfast, whether you want to do it or not. Like, if you can just train yourself to remove that flinch and just get stuff done and just execute on what's holding you back. If you're procrastinating heavy on something that you know needs to get done, that's going to fix a solution for you, or if there's something outstanding, when you just start executing and you just start knocking stuff off, like, you feel invincible. And I think a great example is, for those of you, like, I'm sure everyone's done it, where they start cleaning a bit and you're like, oh, that wasn't bad. And then you clean something else. And then before you know it, you've cleaned your whole house and you're just ripping. Like, action produces more action. And I think if there's something you're struggling with, you just need to stop lacking that self-belief, to Kyle's quote, and just getting things done. Like, if you're starting a new workout regimen and it's pushing you and it's challenging you, especially with my clients, as I scale their routines progressively over time, often we enter a new block. We like to work in 12-week cycles. I'll say to them, listen, this routine is going to challenge you. The first week or 2 weeks, it's going to stretch your belief of what's possible. Maybe you'll be in there an extra 5 minutes. The weight will be a little heavier. And you're going to want to give yourself outs, leave the gym earlier, do lighter weights, cut reps. But instead, when you embrace it, you just get that done for 2 weeks. That becomes your standard, your norm. And from there, that's where you see massive, massive growth. So a lot of the time, like, if you want to build a good habit, build good discipline, it just truly requires you just to get stuff done. And like, if you're struggling sometimes too, it's about just not doing things. If every night you're snacking or overeating, just cut it out. Don't even let it be an option to yourself. And I know that sounds insanely easy, but like, I promise you, if you take this serious and you just start doing this, you'll see a change. And one thing I loved in Jocko Willink's book, he mentions, like, for people that are in like breakups and they're thinking about that person and they're in this point of misery, his tip was like, just stop thinking about it. Or if you're overthinking something, stop thinking about it. And it's so basic and it sounds so dumb and obvious, but even there's been times like I'll overthink random things and I'm just like, this is not productive. I'm just going to stop thinking about it. And then when it comes to my head and I want to think about it, I just think no. And it can be very much the same with food. Like, if you're overeating every night, just say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't eat anymore at this time. I've hit my calories. Oh, in the past you said logging's too hard. You just say, no, I'm going to track everything. I'm making this a priority. If when life gets busy, you cut out the gym and you say, I'm too busy for it, you say, I'm not going to lie to myself with that busyness excuse. I'm going to find a way to get in the gym. So it's an immensely simple quote, but obviously a multi-billion-dollar brand was built off of it. And I think it's a very beautiful premise as well that obviously gets overlooked for how like cliche it is. But the more you can just start saying, what do I need to get done? And you just start doing it. That's how you can truly see massive change in your life.
If you're ever thinking, hey, should I go on this walk? Just do it. If you're thinking, hey, I should get out of bed, just do it. It's such a simple principle, man. If I feel like if you just live your life by that, you can be a completely different person. And it's funny, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the gentleman was speaking of like the top traits of high-level people, like successful, just people in general in every area of life. And one of his biggest things was just to become a quick decision maker. And I think that alone, when you just have this in front of you and you're like, hey, I need to make a decision, like, don't overthink it. Don't spend time going back and forth for the next hour. Just do it. Make a decision. Some of the decisions may be wrong, but it's one of the greatest things you can do is just take action and not overthink things. So I thought that was great. And my thing, it's just been on the top of my head, is just when you start this fitness journey, you will get a lot of feedback. There will be people who judge you at get-togethers. There will be family members. Obviously, like, we're talking about finding belief and having people believe in yourself. And as easy as it is, you'll notice that a lot of people don't believe and they will be naysayers. And one thing I want to say, by the way, if you are someone who has no one, go and find a YouTube video. Go and find someone who can instill belief in you. Like, if you put on Greg Plitt, Josh sent me a video the other day, 3 hours of Greg Plitt, and he's just saying, you have so much capability, you have what it takes, like, and they say all these things. I know some people may just think it's gimmicky, but I promise you, like, it can hit you in different ways. And I really believe in that. But what I was going to get at is that there will be a lot of people who will have things to say. For example, you start taking creatine, right? And there will be some family member who is a little bit overweight, who is potentially an alcoholic, who will have something to say about creatine. There will be some who have something to say about protein powder. Meanwhile, they're having 50 grams of protein. Not to put anyone down, but just be careful. There will be a lot of people, and you may notice this at work, wherever you are, who you wouldn't want to trade positions with, but they'll have something to say. And a lot of people pay attention to the smaller things. Even, for example, I used to hear this a lot when I ran. There would be people who like do no cardio and are out of shape, and they'd be like, oh, isn't that bad for your knees? Like, so there's people who will overthink the things and just pay so much attention to something that really they shouldn't be paying attention to, and always have something to say. And you just kind of have to be like, oh, I usually just shake my head and I'm like, all right, let's keep it moving here. But yeah, just a random thought. I hear stuff like that quite often. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys today.
Yeah, I think the more you can cut out negativity like a cancer, shut it down, or choose not to lean into it. We even realized like we probably over asked about like one of our friends' struggles, and it would just kind of monopolize the whole discussion. It's like, hey, I think I can even help this person by saying more motivational things to them, asking about what's going right, encourage them. And I think even in these situations too, it's easy to get so upset by it. But I think leading by example, continuing on your course, and if you do struggle with your circle, having people that motivate you, encourage you, and build you up, like simulate more growth. Like right now, I assure you're probably fired up to a degree. You're excited about some tenet of fitness, health, or happiness because you're listening to this podcast. So like tune into this more, listen to other great speakers, right? And balance that out and find people who really challenge you and push what you think's normal. I love the rule of 5. Like if all of your 5 friends are miserable, out of shape, unhealthy, that's going to rub off on you, right? Whereas if you're in a group and you're like the least fit one, like that's crazy motivation, right? Like that's going to inspire you and drive you to do that much more. So I think that's a great mention. And I think especially it's easy to like really take too much weight from the naysayers, and people say, we've heard in the past, it's so unhealthy. You go to the gym so much, like that's all your time. All you do is work out. And then you reflect and you're like, I go 5 times a week for an hour, 5 hours of my entire week, probably less than what most people watch on TV each night, right? So it's important too to sometimes just brush off the opinions of others. And I think we've said it before, but sometimes that comes from their own insecurity, right? Because it's easier to explain away your success with you being overly obsessed with the gym or obsessed with health in an obsessive, unhealthy way than them just being lazy and not doing what needs to get done. So just a great motivation to keep pushing where you can push, keep continuing to grow and scale. And I guess what my main thought was, challenge is over. And I was thinking one of the worst mentalities you can have is that all or nothing mentality. I did a little story on it, but oftentimes like people will do challenges or they'll do a physique show. So if people compete bikini physique shows, it's very common after that to go out, celebrate, have a big day of eating, drink a lot, and you'll see people gain 20 pounds in a day, which is absolutely bananas, like small people, even small girls. And you'll notice that people will be back to their pre-cut weight where they dieted hard for 12 to 16 weeks for a show within a month, which is bananas to me, right? Because you put in so much work, and like you could transition out of it intelligently with a reverse diet, repair up your hormones, really work on getting everything back, right? Instead, people will blow it out. And even with this challenge, what I love about our community is it's about sustainability. And I think some people could take it wrong where they could say, okay, I've done 10,000 steps all month. I've had no alcohol. I've hit my calories and my protein. I've weighed in every day. I've done all these tenets of the challenge for a month. I don't need to do that today. So instead, it's like I'm going out to the bar. I'm eating everything I can. I'm not going to walk at all. But like, why would you do that? Like, I find so many people in fitness and health look for any opportunity to shoot themselves in the foot. Even like your birthday. If it's your birthday, it's awesome. Enjoy, have a good time. You don't need to be like a pig and eat like 5 times the calories where you feel sick and disgusting. Like, none of us want that, right? Like, instead, moving more to moderation. If you're like, it's my birthday, I'm going to hit my calories and I'm going to have my cake. And I don't care that it's 500 calories over. Such a better mentality mentality than someone who's just like, I need to eat everything because I can. And then you're suffering for it for the next 3 weeks. You're not seeing any progress. So stop shooting yourselves in the foot. It's like one of the worst things you can do. I've still continued to hit every aspect of the challenge, even though it's been done for a few days now, and I intend to do so. And of course, like if there's one day I'm not at my 10K steps, I'm not doing the challenge, I'll maybe be less compulsive about making sure to get that done, but move to that sustainability. And if you before walk 5,000, you started doing 10,000 steps for a challenge, like why not readdress that and say, I'm going to move up to 6 or 7 or 8, or find what's realistic and sustainable from you. And you'll find so much more joy and balance from that.
Yeah, honestly, even I feel like I'm in such a good spot. Like being able to have a journey and an approach that actually fits your lifestyle, and I feel like I could do for the rest of my life. Like the movements we do in the gym, like the way of eating, even for me, I've been losing weight, but I just feel so good about everything we've been doing. So I'm very grateful for that. Like I know a lot of people who are just constantly like trying to diet themselves way too hard, and then they just can't stick to it. And then like Josh said, sometimes they'll rebound, or like their approach is just way too drastic. Like, it's taken years to get to this point, but it really does feel amazing. And even what I wanted to really shout out today as we jump into our client shout out is just everybody that completed the challenge. We have so many amazing wins, and every person's story is so different. There were some people who lost 10 pounds on this challenge. There were some people who went from being inconsistent and struggling to just completely dialed in. There were some who hit PRs for their strength training. Some cut out alcohol fully. Some people's mental health improved. Some of them, all of these aspects. Like it was just so cool to see all of the amazing wins. And as we're gathering everything, we have to send out all the amazing shirts for anyone who completed it. On the back, as Josh mentioned, it says no challenge too great. Like it's been well deserved. So what we love about this journey is that everybody will have wins in different ways, shapes, and forms. Like for one mother or father who says, hey, I have more energy to play with my kid. That's incredible. They lost 6 pounds, their body fat's down, they're sleeping better. They just feel so much better. And what we do within our program, it's not just a short term. Like these wins are consistently happening, and they will consistently happen forever. And you deserve to feel this way. You deserve to feel your absolute best. And even what we're going to do before we jump into our next question, which is going to be on metabolism, we will help you fix your metabolism, be able to eat more food, be able to feel incredible, and just burn fat like a furnace and feel absolutely amazing in whatever you're wearing and whatever day it is. Just message us metabolism and we will take care of you on Instagram at Colossus Fit, COLOSSUSFIT. But we're so proud of every single one of our amazing clients.
Yeah, and I think what's perfect is the next question is literally around metabolism. How can I improve my metabolism? I hear a lot of buzz around this, and I feel my metabolism is broken. And I'll jump in. Kyle's made a lot of videos on this, which has been absolutely awesome. So he's dug in deep, and he's going to have killer points. But what I will say is I think too many people use this as some broad excuses to why they can't lose weight or why a calorie deficit doesn't work for them. Like that's just not realistic. A deficit will work. Of course, some people have more optimized metabolisms or hormonal profiles than others. But I think the easiest thing you can do to fix your metabolism is just live healthier. And you might say, okay, well, what does that mean? And I'd say, I think we all know what that means. Like your metabolism is going to suck if you're drinking every day. You're literally having poison every single day. You're staying up too late and just staring at screens and waking up at irregular times. You're not working out. You're just putting crap in your body, crap and crap, more crap, eating garbage consistently, ordering anything and everything. Like, if you're not taking care of your body, it's not going to be very optimized. It's going to be shot. So like the most easy broad strokes way to improve your metabolism is to live healthier. So get good amounts of sleep and recovery. Take care of yourself mentally. Go to the gym and exercise. Eat the best healthy food you can. Like truly, if you do those things, like with the exception of you have some like crazy rare thing or PCOS or like it's not too common actually. Like I think people are too quick to assume that something is wrong instead of addressing these broad strokes problems that most people are probably working and suffering through. So before you use this as an out and blame your metabolism, like these general changes are what are the big movers. And that's why in our coaching program, I use that stool analogy. Like the 3 things to make a transformation, if you consider it a 3-legged stool, are your training, right? So just getting to the gym, working out, being healthy, moving, all this great stuff, mobility, everything in there, your nutrition, and then also your lifestyle and your recovery, right? And if I take away one of those legs, it's going to be a very uncomfortable chair. It's not going to be good. If I take away two, you're going to fall on your butt, and that's like you having a shot metabolism. But the more you can work to fix and clean up these three components, which is the entire tenet of our coaching program, is for you to be able to do all these within balance and in a sustainable, healthy way that fits your lifestyle. That's how you're actually going to see broad strokes change. So it's really important that you look at the macro before the micro. I know Kyle will have a ton of additional tips, but I just wanted to lead with that.
It's funny because when it comes down to it, a lot of people, when they ask questions around metabolism, hormones, gut health, just anything where it sounds like sexy and fancy, most of the same answers will apply. It's just like Josh said, eat healthier, lift weights, just make better decisions every day. You will absolutely be in a better spot. And when people hear the words like metabolism and anything in that sort, they think of these kind of drastic things, or just some myths involved with it would be eat more meals per day to speed up your metabolism, or try this fat burner because there's a specific part in the supplement that's going to speed up your metabolism and rev it up and burn things like a furnace. Like whatever they say, it doesn't work. And it's just a complete myth. Spicy food has been proven, or at least people thought would be like something that would help with your metabolism. Same with sauna, cold baths. There's all this stuff. So it's just people marketing their specific things, selling their specific things. It's not going to make a big difference. But what really will is, like Josh said, the main things that you should be doing every day and that we always talk about. And one other thing, and something I wanted to talk about, because this is where a lot of people kind of go wrong, is they're spending their life in either a never-ending diet or like a half in and half out diet. So what happens is, let's just say you end up having a goal to lose 50 pounds. That's just the number that you're striving for, and you end up bringing your calories down for quite a while, or you end up being half in and half out and it takes a lot longer. Your body starts to become inefficient at a certain point. You're down to a super low amount of calories. Therefore, your metabolism slowed down. You're not losing weight like you were before on a specific amount. Now, a lot of times, and this is where people struggle, is they don't go through enough different phases because they don't have the knowledge, right? And that's where when clients come in and they lose a certain amount of weight, it's always important. The example that Josh shared before of like bodybuilders who just end up completely going backwards because they end up gaining all this weight, there needs to be a diet after the diet. Now, a lot of people don't ever allow themselves to get to that point because they never, fully finish a cut. They're always half in and half out, and they don't have like an end goal or like an end approach, and they just end up being in a never-ending diet, or kind of being in a never-ending diet. So what we need to do is we need to go through different phases. And even for us, like, people sometimes ask, hey, how are you able to eat this much food and be able to maintain? Well, it's because we've gone through different phases of a muscle gain phase, maintenance periods, different shred periods, and even gaining muscle is actually a very important part of that. Whereas if you're someone who just wants to see abs and that's all you're focused on for the rest of your life, it's going to be very tough because your body's not going to be as efficient as if you were to have more muscle on your exact self to be able to eat more. So that's a very important thing. Even another thing to note is, like, when you're dieting, try to do it slower. A lot of times people just like thrash their calories and just go on this crazy quick fix like keto, or go from like 2,000 calories right down to 1,200 and just do these juice diets. You end up just kind of slowing things down, and your body's going to become inefficient and just not happy with you, essentially. And that's going to be something else to keep in mind. But those are some big tips. Obviously, getting some more movement in, adding some cardio and whatnot. It's always a good bonus just to help with that. But yeah, if you are someone who's struggling, we will speed things up for you in a safe manner. I'm not going to promise you'll lose 20 pounds in 1 week. Like, if you want to see change and actually be able to fix all of this, if you feel like you're someone who has a broken metabolism, or what you've been trying isn't working, or whatever the case is, once again, message us, Metabolism. We've seen so many different scenarios of people who had things broken or had other coaches messing things up for them, and we will get you guaranteed results or your money back. So yeah, just message us and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, and there are exceptions to every rule. If you're someone who's dieted really hard, or you have a really bad history of crash dieting or lack of self-care, there is an effect towards that, and you actually can have a really damaged metabolism, especially after cutting for a long time. So a lot of your hormones will get wonky. Your body thinks it's starving itself, so it's going to work against that process. So there are exceptions where sometimes we'll begin by reverse dieting someone and driving up their calories, fixing their hormonal profile, getting into more balance. Especially you'll see, like with women, if they've dieted insanely hard or done extra amounts of exercise they don't need to do, like they'll lose their period and different things like that. So sometimes you want to take it one step back, two steps forwards approach, but ultimately it's always these big grand scheme macro fixes. Like Kyle said, I like that point. Like, of course, if you're in a colder environment, your body's going to work harder to warm up, or if you're in a really hot one, you're going to sweat out more. Like, but these are tiny little micro things, and if you're wasting your energy there and you neglect the big thing, you're just going to spin your wheels and you're going to get nowhere. So that's where I think really take this answer to heart. Really think about what we said, because that is truly how you fix it. And ultimately, you're going to have your metabolism in the best place by taking care of yourself. And it's always the people I think that do the least, especially men now, that are like, I need to start taking TRT, which is like testosterone replacement therapy. And I even saw a study recently that like bulk of people who do TRT haven't even checked their baseline testosterone at all. So they're replacing something they don't know that they're deficient in. And I think in general too, like they'll say you can nuke your testosterone levels in a day by staying up, eating like crap, being overly tired, overly stressed. Like, it's amazing how sensitive your body is to that. And you can get your body running really well just by doing the basics in terms of health and not even doing anything too outlandish or crazy. So once again, just want to talk some reason there and say, really fix the root of the problem. Don't do temporary fixes here. But for our third and final question, we have, how can I simply stop overeating? How do you help your clients with this? No matter what I do, it doesn't seem to help. What advice do you have for me? And I think my biggest advice is real stakes. Like I said earlier, if you say you're going to cut, but you don't believe it, you know the second temptation's there, you're going to blow it out of the water. Like, you're just setting yourself up to fail. And that's where clients get such incredible results with us, because they know we're looking. We review their spreadsheets every single week. We review their energy, their food satiety. So we don't just look at numbers. We get even deeper than those numbers. And when you know someone's looking, it's more motivation. When you know you're doing a challenge, like, that's why I love this challenge, is for a month, we challenge all of our clients. Obviously, we always want to be doing this, but to hit our protein and calories every single day. And I think the more you do it, the more you realize, hey, this isn't too bad. And I'm sure if you've been in different stints where, I remember there was a weird time where me and Kyle were both like maybe bulking or half bulking. We're into powerlifting and very early on in our journey. And we personal trained beside a Papa John's pizzeria. And I remember all the time I'd be like, yeah, man, in one pizza this week. And I'd get like a large pizza deal. And then it just nuked my willpower, because then the next day I'm like, oh, it's a long day, I'll get another pizza. And I was like, it was crazy. I got to like 225 and I'm like, what am I doing? But I normalized this lack of accuracy, and I normalized like getting a pizza every night. Your body is incredibly receptive to what it does often. So just the same now, like, I've really worked on like my relationship with food. And even lately, I eat till I'm full. I don't eat till I'm stuffed ever. There's no need to be stuffed. It doesn't feel good. You feel disgusting. You don't want that, right? Your stomach's churning all day. So I've analyzed my relationship with that, and I've had more of a thought process towards it. But if you commit to like 2 weeks of 80-20 good eating with balance, you show yourself it's possible, you remove all those excess, you'll be like, this isn't bad. I feel better than ever. You'll have tons of energy. You'll sleep better. Like, it's amazing how much it does. And I know this is a counterintuitive thing. Like, I'm not telling you to hide your snacks or cut off eating at a certain time. But I do think when you really analyze those habits and patterns, and you just commit to 14 days, 21 days of doing something, you'd be amazed at how much easier it makes it, how much more it normalizes it. And I think if you struggle, like, you need to rip that Band-Aid off. And there's ways you could do it. Like, you'd send your food log to a friend every day, or send your weight, or better yet, just have a coach, because having that accountability is everything. But when you have those real stakes, like, and you just buy into that process and you show yourself you can do it, in my opinion, that is the best way to stop overeating. Whereas if you don't even believe in yourself and you say you're cutting, but then you're driving home and you see something enticing, you're going to want to grab that enticing thing on the way home, right? Like, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, like I said, before you're even able to succeed. And that's absolutely something you want to avoid. So buying consistently, it's just amazing the advantage that gives you.
What I will say is, like, on the topic of normalizing things and focused on habit creation, like, that's going to be everything, right? Because if you are overeating, it's very possible just the things throughout the day, you're letting it get to you, right? So you're done dinner, you've hit your calories, you've done a good job. You have to really pay attention to the habits that you have and that you've created, and work towards finding a solution to that. So for you, it might be going to the cupboard and looking to see what's there. Okay, we realize the habit, we see exactly what's going on. Let's work to make sure that we fix this habit. And I've had to fix this myself personally with a lot of different things. As someone who likes desserts, and whatnot, it's something that I've had to rework and be able to say, hey, you know what? Like, I can't allow this to happen. If you stop for donuts every single time you pass by the specific spot, let's work to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So a lot of it is just rewiring and actually focusing on that habit, because most people don't even realize like what they're doing. Like Josh said, when you're driving and you stop for takeout, okay, you know, maybe it could come from you being delayed for the day because you stayed up a little bit later, and then in the morning you didn't get a chance to have your breakfast, so you're running through a drive-through, right? Rewiring the habits will be the single most important thing to make sure that what you do is going to be able to stick. It's not going to just be for a week. It's not going to be for one day, but the changes that you make going forward will be continuous. And the last thing I'll say on this topic will just be simply having that accountability of tracking food is everything. Like, I promise you, if I didn't track my food, I could get away with it for a little bit, but I will always find ways to take advantage. I would end up eating a little bit extra food. I would have some snacks. I would just do things that aren't as ideal. So when I see the data from my fitness pal and it says, hey, you're out of calories for the day, not only that, but I have to share it with Josh because I don't want to let myself down and I don't want to let him down. These two things, accountability from yourself and from someone else who cares and who's invested, will make such a big difference. If you're struggling, message us Metabolism to Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. We'll fix all your problems. We'll get you guaranteed results. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.